Hello, Bro Steph here with Prophecy Insights and Bible Insights. And today we want to talk about the war that is occurring right now in West Asia. Many of you may be thinking, well, come on now, what does West Asia have to do with us? I mean, it's like a world away. In reality, West Asia or Armenia and Azerbaijan are right under, Armenia's under the Ukraine. Azerbaijan is kind of southeast of Russia. And then Turkey is to the east. And so they're all kind of clustered in that West Asia area of the world. Now, what's going on with this war is a dispute over territory. And to understand probably what's happening with the Armenians is the Armenians were, 1 million Armenians were slaughtered by Turkey in the early 1900s by the Armenian genocide. And Germany, when it was prior to Hitler, Germany and Turkey just slaughtered the Armenian people. In fact, there's a movie that really highlights this and is really done real well called The Promise. And that's on Netflix. And you may want to watch that because it really walks you through that war that took place between Turkey and Armenia. To this day, Turkey and the Armenians don't even talk. I mean, they have no relations with one another. And there's quite disdain one for the other. So now with that as your backdrop, and now let's move Israel into the picture. Okay, let's move Israel into this picture under the umbrella of Ezekiel 38. And let's kind of analyze and talk about that. What's going on in Turkey right now that's being kind of spurred on by this Armenian war with Azerbaijan, the prime minister or president of Turkey, Erdogen, has decided that Jerusalem belongs to him, that the Jews have no claim to Jerusalem, and he wants to invade Jerusalem. He wants to take it over and make it his own. Because during the Ottoman Empire and the great reign of the Turkish, I don't know what you would call him, czar, if that's what you'd want to call him. Israel was not under the control of the Jews. And so what Erdogan wants to do is dial the clock back and go back and recreate the Ottoman Empire and take control of Israel, Jerusalem, etc. Now, why is that important? Here's why this is very important. Ezekiel 38 really describes the nation partners that are going to come together, that are in fact together through peace treaty already, which is some believe it's Russia, okay, Turkey, North Africa, Iran, Persia, And then some of the other satellite countries that, Pakistan, possibly India, will all come together and launch an attack against Israel. Now, I have said in the past, and I'll say it again here today, that I believe, as we're watching current events unfold now, Turkey is really becoming the instigator of this push, desired push toward Israel and the takeover of Jerusalem. Russia, Putin may be in the background pulling some strings, instigating Turkey to do his dirty work for him. But I'm not too sure that Russia may sit it out and just let Turkey get all the blood on their hands and let them go in there and try to take over Israel. And we know the end of that story in Ezekiel 38. God's anger rises up in his face. He becomes flush with anger and wrath and defeats the armies that come against Israel in Ezekiel 38 and defeats them on the mountains of Israel. They don't even get into central Israel proper. So what we're seeing in Eastern, Asia now, and with Turkey, and the desire of the Turkish president to invade Jerusalem and take it over. He really wants to do this. Now, you and I know what that force is, spiritual force, that's whispering in his ear, that is driving him in this direction. And we all know that that's, Satan himself is whispering in the ear of the Turkish president. And when is this invasion going to happen? No one really knows for sure. There's speculation that some believe it will be the war that actually kicks off the final 7 years that Daniel talks about in Daniel 9. Actually, Daniel's chapter 7 through 12. A lot believe that this Ezekiel 38 could kick that off, the final 7 years of Gentile rule and reign over the world, or called the 70th week of Daniel, as it's commonly referred to. Some believe that the final 70th week of Daniel, or that final 7-year period, will take place and develop first, and then there will be a agitating force that invades Israel during the reign of the Antichrist, and that this war has some effect on the Antichrist tightening the reins down on the world. I've always been of the opinion, that I think the Ezekiel war, there's a good chance it may take place right before that final 7-year period occurs. It kind of makes sense, actually, when you read Ezekiel 38 and you just go through it verse by verse. It kind of makes sense that it could be used as a trigger to cause that final 7 years to start to gain momentum. Antichrist comes to power, starts setting up his seat of authority, helps the Jews develop and build their temple, which, by the way, the talk right now there's a huge push in Israel right now, side note, to, because of this peace treaty with the UAE and now with Bahrain, there's this push to get the Jewish temple up and running, because the Bible speaks of it being a place of worship for the world. It'll be a light to all the nations. And so there's this big push right now where the Jews are talking to the Arabs on how can they have their place of worship and yet make it available to all religions who would like to come join in worship and check out the new temple. I mean, so this is going on. So look what's happening just in the Middle East right now in the geopolitical world. You've got the president of Turkey wants to invade Jerusalem, wants to take it over, he wants it back. You've got Azerbaijan and the Armenians at war. They are literally killing one another right now. And then you have this peace situation that Trump and his son-in-law have put together. And talk of a third temple. And you have the red heifer that is, red heifers now can be bred with no problem at all. And we have red heifers coming onto the scene that were not in ready supply prior to now. And you have all the implements in temple worship built, being held in reserve, ready to go. You got the golden menorah. We've all seen that. You can just Google that up and see how beautiful it is. Pure gold. We have all the implements, everything. And they even have an altar ready to go to do the sacrifices on. So it's really, I think we're getting to that place where we can say with confidence, and then throw in to all of this, throw in the COVID-19 chaos and the rioting in America and around the world and the protesting and all the disruptions. Throw that all in, weather disturbances, and you just got this cocktail. It to me looks like a cocktail that God's preparing, and he's about, I think, getting ready to bring in that final 7-year period where the process, like I said, would be the Antichrist, then the temple, the Jewish temple goes up, and then Revelation chapter 6 through 19 would ensue as we move through that 7 years. The two witnesses, right? The new Holocaust that is going to be poured out on the Jews, worse than the first Holocaust in the middle 1900s. So we'll have all that happening. We'll have believers in Jesus being persecuted like never before. The Antichrist goes into the temple, says he's God. All hell breaks loose. Then he does that in the middle of the 7-year period. So at 3.5 years, he declares himself to be God. The Jews see he's the false Messiah. They beg God for forgiveness. And then the Antichrist lowers the boom and just starts wiping people out as fast as he can. Because he's now possessed by the devil. and driven to a mental state of insanity. And that's what's going to happen. That's kind of a real simplistic view of that 7 year period. And I think we're really headed toward that. And I think it's picking up steam with each passing day and month. And, jeez, I mean, 2020 already just seems like it's been a 10 year period. Doesn't it seem? Though the year is coming and going rapidly, but doesn't it have a feel like it's gone on and on and on? I don't know if you feel that way. I do. I'm so done with COVID-19 and masks and what to do, what not to do. I mean, for those of you that may be kind of getting to know me, if you want to learn more about me, just go to brosteph.com and click on my story or who I am. Click on that. And I kind of give you a synopsis of my testimony. But I am not one of these that believes that masks are good for us. I believe the doctors that are far smarter than me that say that really in actuality, the masks probably do more harm than good. And the same with staying in lockdown. The way to beat this thing is to live our lives and to get out there and worship and fellowship with each other and let the herd immunity take effect, where we develop a natural immunity through exposure. And look at the death rate of COVID when you really look at it. And I really, sorry I'm talking about it, I really didn't want to talk about it. But the death rate is not even 1% now. It's so small. And they even believe that the death rate in America is more like 50 or 60,000, not 200,000. Why? A pastor I know just died, okay? He's had leukemia for 4 years. When you have leukemia, you become extremely susceptible to viruses and bacterial infections. You have to be very cautious with leukemia that you really do protect yourself against things like the flu and pneumonias and things like this. Well, he got a bad case of pneumonia. He was put into the hospital. A week later, 10 days later, he's dead. How do they label it? COVID-19. Even though he had leukemia for 4 years. And, sooner or later, the leukemia is going to kill you if you have it, and if you have it severely like he did. And so by the hospital tagging him COVID-19, they get a $35,000 stipend or kickback. So everyone that dies now is COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19. So the numbers are drastically exaggerated. So really, we're only looking in the United States, probably about 60,000 have died from COVID. Well, now run the numbers, it's down to probably 1/3%, that have died from this. Very, very little. We grieve and mourn for the loss of life. It doesn't matter how few or how many. If one life is lost, we mourn for that life and wish the best for that family that's left behind. I'm not trying to dishonor or suggest that the death of those from COVID is not important. It is greatly important. Hey, if the Lord notices a sparrow that dies and falls to the ground, he acknowledges and sees the death of the people he has created. and they are important to him. If a sparrow is important to him, how much more are we important to him? So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Think about what we've talked about. And, read Ezekiel 38. Read Daniel chapter 9. And read, Revelation chapters 19 through 22. And then see what the Holy Spirit might be saying to your heart. And check out what I've said against the scriptures and see if it makes sense to you. And if you have a differing thought or idea about this, let me know. I'm always open to what you think. Just look on the comment section below and comment away. This is Bro Steph with a prophecy update today. And I wish you all the best. And thank you, Bruce, for checking in with us today and for your encouragement. Now, if you don't know the Lord, I want to encourage you to please consider starting a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. As we get closer and closer to that final 7-year period, the window to asking Christ into your life will start to close. What do I mean by that? Well, just look at what's going on in the United States. Our freedoms are beginning to disintegrate right in front of our eyes. You do know it's constitutionally not legal per the Constitution Bill of Rights for any governor or any mayor to demand you wear a mask and that you cannot worship at church. It's against the law, but they're doing it anyway. And some people are being threatened with jail time and fines that go into the millions of dollars. So as our freedoms erode, and these politicians think that they answer to nobody anymore, they're going to start removing my religious freedoms. And the days of you being able to just say whatever you want about the Lord, those days will come to an end. It will cost us something if we're here when that happens. So now's the time to ask Christ into your life while we have freedom on our side. And not only that, you don't know that before I finish my next word, that the Lord could require your soul of you and you could end up taking your last breath. None of us has a guarantee that we'll make it through the next minute, much less tomorrow. None of us. So, sorry for the interruption. I don't know if you heard that or not. Caused my phone to go squirrely. But anyway, ask Christ into your life. Do it now. Do it today. Go to brosteph.com and read my information there and ask Jesus to be your Lord and Savior. Be the best thing you ever did. Be the smartest decision you would have ever made in your life. This is Bro Steph, wishing you a blessed day, and may the Lord cause his face and his grace to shine upon you and your loved ones. Bye for now.